Hello, my name is Anthony Trickle, and today we're going to talk about circular saw safety. This is an 8 1/4 circular saw, which isn't your most common size on a job site. A 7 1/4 is, but it's a typical style. This is a saw cat. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a few features with you. This is an indexing mark right here, which will help you line up with the blade. It's got a couple increments here on a little tape measure, and this is your height adjusting handle. To lower, raise and lower your blade. This is your bevel adjusting knob to adjust the saw if you want to cut a particular degree pitch. This is your upper stationary guard. This is your lower guard, and this is the lower guard lifting handle. This is your table. Some people might call it a shoe or a base. This is your main handle with your trigger, and this is your depth adjusting handle. This right here is your height or depth adjusting or scale to adjust it for height. This is a blade stop back here to change the blade, which we'll talk about. And this is your motor on the back side. You can also use the height adjusting knob as a secondary knob for stability. This is a 7 1/4 inch circular saw, which is pretty much just about the same style except for the way it adjusts for height. There's a few things I noticed about this saw when I was doing my video safety check here. Is it's missing a screw on the base, and also the guard was sticking. It wasn't retracting all the way, which can be very, very dangerous. So we're going to get that out of here. This circular saw, the blade is orientated on the right hand side of the saw. We typically call this a left-handed saw because if you're trying to use it with your right hand, you're looking over the saw, which puts you kind of in an awkward position. For the circular saw, you can see how the blade's orientated on the left-hand side of the saw, which is very convenient for a right-handed person, because standing right here in a firm stance, I can see the blade orientated on the line without looking over the saw, which is a really, really nice feature. It's not a common feature on a circular saw. Next thing we want to do is we want to make sure the blade or the saw is unplugged. I'm going to show you how to change the blade. There's 3 different kinds of wrenches: an adjustable wrench or a crescent wrench. This is what normally you'll have on a job site. It's a little harder. You can't lay the blade, the wrench parallel with the blade. It's a little bit of an angle, which makes it kind of awkward. This is a box end wrench. Again, it's not very common to have on a job site, but it's perfect for this application. And this is the same offset. This is typically what comes with newer circular saws, and they'll even have a slot or a recess point where you can store your blade wrench at all times. Okay, we want to put this here on a secure platform, lift the lower guard. We want to spin this blade. As we're spinning the blade, we want to push the blade stop on the back side of the blade, and it'll lock in. So now if we do righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, we'll turn this counterclockwise. Go ahead, we'll take this blade off. And we'll turn this sideways so we don't lose this washer. A lot of times on a job site, it'll take off on you. So sometimes pitch and sap and everything will get down in there, so you want to go ahead and kind of wobble this, take it out. Keep it on that washer. We're going to go ahead and put in this 24 tooth. It's kind of an all-purpose blade. And the guard right here has an arrow which tells you which way the saw is rotating when it's cutting. And you want to orientate that with the blade. There's an arrow on the blade. Typically the printing or the display is on the outside of the saw. Go ahead and put that on. Put your washer on. You want to finger tight this as far as possible to help keep from stripping the threads. Okay. Now we want to get a hold of the blade stop that's on the back side of the saw here. Snug that up, you know, put a death grip on it. Okay, we're going to get rid of all of it. This is a 60 blade right here. It's made for finish cutting, like your finer plywoods, maybe your oak veneers or your birch veneers. And as you can see on the blade, it has a diamond cutout. It has a 5/8 arbor hole, or it has a diamond cutout, and you can knock that cutout if you're putting this on a worm drive, which has a diamond insert. Here's the 18 tooth. It's kind of an all-purpose rough cutting saw. Go ahead and show you a couple cuts. Make sure your table's secure. Go ahead and clamp that piece of wood down, if at all possible. A couple square lines. First thing we want to do is we want to set our blade to the right depth. This saw has a depth guide here, but if you don't have that, you want to lift your lower, and you want to lower guard, and you want to lower this down to where it's, remember the saw is unplugged. You might want to check it a couple times just to make sure, but you want to lower this down to where it's about a quarter to half an inch below your material that you're wanting to cut. Okay, we're all set up. Now we'll plug her in. You want to make sure your cord's free and clear of anything, everybody around you. You want to watch your cord, because if it's in a traffic area, somebody might come by and trip over your cord, and as you're cutting, could rip the saw completely out of your hands. So this has a small viewing window here, which you can orientate it with a line, or you can look all the way over. But you want to make sure that you're clear behind your saw, just in case your saw were to kick back. Go ahead and orientate it, back up your saw, get it up to speed, and go ahead and cut on all the way through in a nice, smooth manner. Looks good. Second, I'm going to show you how to adjust a bevel. So you go ahead and you loosen your bevel knob here. We're going to go ahead and cut a 30-degree bevel. Tighten that up. This isn't the most accurate, so you might want to check it if for some reason you're cutting something that needs to be super accurate. With the saw on a bevel like this, you can even see in the view window just a little bit more. So go ahead and orientate it with your line. There we go, we have that. So again, anytime you're handling your saw, you want to make sure it's unplugged. Anytime you're using your saw, you always want to make sure you're wearing these safety glasses and make sure they're approved. Then also, with today's products that we're going to be cutting, we might be cutting treated lumber, which is treated with all kinds of preventative decay chemicals and fire retardant material. So if you have allergies, if you don't, it's always good to wear a dust protective mask. And that concludes my review here. I appreciate your watching it, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.